that guy, you know, the one who goes like that, yeah.
So
As a keynote speaker.
Yeah,
it was talaga?
keynote speaker. We had a keynote
Singer.
performer.
Kudos on
Parang pinasa niya, you know, parang, you know, you don't have to appreciate something intellectually. You can appreciate it on a emotional, visceral kind of way. So yun ang ginawa naming approach. It was really,
well, that was the song.
it was just terrific, I think.
Yeah,
You know?
No, when he sang the night of the inaugural in Quezon Memorial Circle, you know, okay.
So that's what we did. So there was a common. You sort of got it. It was a very intuitive approach to the subject, and then you had speakers who sort of reacted to it, 5-10 minute reactions, and then floor was open.
It's actually interesting because one of the comments was to the effect that he's surprised or she was surprised that, or at least, you know, he was talking and the senators were listening. Parang
baliktad.
It doesn't work that way though. In the usual, the usual run of the thing.
We had just the formulation of it.
Yes.
We had 4 sessions, basically. The first session was, well, we just defined culture as wiring. So the first session was, all right, how are we wired? And is there something about our wiring that keeps us where we are?
What a nice way of saying what is wrong.
The next, because we did want to get into a discussion about culture and defining it. So you just say it's how we're wired, period. But maybe how we're wired puts us into a rut. So the next session will be part 2 of that. All right, what about our wiring can actually set us free? Because there must be something in our wiring that's going to do it for us. Now, the next one had to do with the culture of politics. You notice it's always the culture of the culture of. So the culture of Philippine politics. Oh, you know, we had it with, you know, dynasties, corruption, all of that. The next was poverty alleviation, which we call the cultures of poverty alleviation. We were not talking about the culture of poverty. We're talking about the various approaches to poverty alleviation, which are all philosophies, diba? The philosophy of CDD. The philosophy of conditional cash transfer and all of that. So we had a go at it. Now, which of these things would be good for us for the next 25 years? And then, of course, we ended up with a synthesis under the banner of cultures of freedom, because it is actually it's a very important piece of our heritage.
Okay. Wait, let's go back to the first topic. So what did you discover?
Please tell us.
What's wrong with that?
I'd like to say right away that we did not encourage the participants to analyze the Philippines. We just had a bitch session.
Oh, okay.
Parang get it out of the way.
So when you got it out, anong lumabas? Tell us.
Sige, Jim.
Well, you know, the usual complaints na, what they call this, ano ba yung mga lumabas doon na complaints?
Na alam na natin.
Oh, I mean, you know,
it's what you see daily.
It's what you see daily.
Okay.
So parang
damage culture.
That's the whole thing. So we said, okay.
Parang it's your self-flagellation.
But even when we were doing that, we felt na atat yung ibang participants to, you know, we're not really always like that. They sort of wanted to jump into the constructive thing. No? So when we got to the next session, I think there was like mas relaxing tao because they wanted to talk about the good things that they saw.
Okay. So what are the good things you saw?
In fact, one interesting thing was what your sister said, no?
My sister? My older sister.
Your ate?
Your ate. She said, very simply put, she said, you know, we are where we are because people put this together. You know, tao rin ang gumawa nitong mga institusyon na ito. Kung ito ay palpak at tao rin ang pwedeng magbago niyan. In other words, it's people who it's the people who put this thing together. And therefore it is us who will tear it apart and put something new together and rebuild.
One of the things that was really amazing to me was that, you know, we talk about very often we keep at the back of our minds how damaged we are. And then this guy with some microfinance, what's his name? Dr. Alip was saying that his collection was 99.95% among the poor.
Collection rate niya.
So I thought that was quite amazing. Kung sino pa yung mahirap, yung pa yung talagang on time magbayad, no? So I thought there was something there. Maybe hiya plays a role there, di ba? Ayaw mo mapahiya.
We work with
Dr.
Alip. We work with Dr. Alip and actually microfinance, and I'm in micro enterprise. And I guess after the bitching session in the morning, the later session sort of liberates you to think about, you know, there are things that are working. And I guess microfinance was one clear signal or clear system or clear cultural signal that things were working on the ground as well with the poor. And the truth is the poor pay better than the rich, by the way, at 99.95% repayment rate.
See, Jim said another interesting, Jim Libira had another interesting observation. Sabi niya, perhaps, you know, our strength is precisely because we are divided, we are diverse. You know, perhaps we are really tribal in a sense, and therefore we should acknowledge it and then see how we can build from it. Instead of, you know, what is the upside? He was saying, what is the upside to who we are, and that's what we should work on.
Yeah, instead of competing with distrust.
That was something I really resonated with. Because sometimes you always think, oh, we're sort of like trying to force it that we're one island when we're not. And one of the strengths really is the diversity. And maybe if we begin to accept that there are 7,107 islands, then maybe we can build bridges or platforms to connect these different islands and people. And for me, also was reimagining the Philippines on our own terms and not be beholden of how other countries define us. And you brought that up actually. And I found that very insightful, that reimagining the Philippines from our point of view, from these 100 people, means defining it from how we want to define it, rather than saying that this is how countries measure you, etc. It's saying this is who we are, we accept it, these are our strengths, these are also our flaws, but we want to still envision a future for ourselves.
Okay.
One of the things that I appreciated, if I might just jump in, is I never heard the words world class at all. World class. Wala na. Parang wala na yun sa usapan. Wag na natin isipin maging world class. Parang it's outside. We didn't make a big deal out of it. I think it was this initial idea that went on and on throughout the entire 2 days, that we're measuring ourselves by our own measures. So we're going to plan and imagine based on what we understand about ourselves.
Yeah. Let me just go back to the example of microfinance, because we were talking about what is it in our weaknesses that also make us strong. What are the good points? So what is it in Pinoy that makes them good in
about the poor?
Yeah.
Well, kasi this is what happens. And again, there's the conference is talking about hardware and software. And hardware is the people, tama ba? The software is the culture.
Yeah. Hardware is our capabilities.
Our skills.
Yeah, skills.
Microfinance kasi allows a system or middleware wherein the discipline is reinforced. And the single biggest trick of microfinance is it creates a culture, the software, amongst the poor, but also there is the simplest of technologies called the weekly meeting. And Dr. Alip and the microfinance people have perfected this, that every single week, all of the borrowers meet in center meetings. It's in the middle of a field, in the house of a borrower, etc. But every single week, that discipline, that Monday, 2 o'clock, magkikita tayo. And then you have to pay your loan 173.25 to the centavo. So it creates a system of discipline as well. But also that culture...
And
accountability. But there's also that culture amongst them that, okay, I have been given a loan of 5,000 pesos. But this is not charity to me. This is a loan, a micro loan, and I have to make something out of this loan and pay it back. So the poor perceive it as access to credit, wherein they're given a chance to prove themselves as well. And I think if we give people a chance to prove themselves,
they will step up to the plate.
They will step up to provide a system, which is the weekly meeting, but also create a culture and an engagement with the poor that says, I lend you this money, I'm not giving it to you, I'm lending it to you, but make something out of it. And that's the way microfinance works. You can't spend it on consumption. You have to come up with a small business.
And pero maganda yan, parang accountability, para bang you have a meeting so that, parang, well, partly hiya is important here, no?
Plays a role.
Na parang they have to come and then...
Yeah, and if somebody's absent, the whole group actually has, there are different methodologies now. Let's say Marian is absent, then the three of us will actually go to her house later and say, Marian, why did you not attend? So there's that discipline talaga. So, and it's also cultural, because they work together, they bond together, that center.
So kaya pala ng Pinoy to we can take care of each other.
Well, take care of each other. Why do 3,000 people of our people leave every day? Because they realize that they want to have a better life for themselves and their children. And that's why they leave. They're not leaving because they've given up on the country. They're leaving because they need to provide for their families. And they're willing to go through hell
Yeah.
They're willing to go through exploitation, humiliation, discrimination, and abuse because they love their families. And they've been doing this for decades. In other words, our people are resilient, are persevering, are hardworking, are willing to sacrifice for their loved ones and their families. But if they have to do this abroad, I'm sure if the opportunity is given to them here, they will also be willing to sacrifice, to persevere, to suffer here. That's the challenge. Well, I'm from government, and that's the challenge for the government to provide, to help provide the environment that will provide the opportunities for our people, so that they don't have to go abroad.
Saka Filipinos like to connect. Yun nga, parang you want to belong to that group na, ano, di ba? It's the same thing that we like to be in Facebook and Twitter. I mean, we're the national barangay already, di ba? Ganun na tayo mag-isip, di ba? So, ganun yun. I mean, the conversation that we had over the weekend had pati OFW kasama. We had some people from abroad who actually joined. No? I mean, that's the whole idea. We think of it, you know, we're a physical family but a virtual family as well. You know, our culture is yung ating need to connect, need to belong, need to be with family, plays up to all of that. And that's why I think that microfinance also succeeds that way.
And just one more quick point. And I believe if our people are inspired, you know, if they are inspired to give their utmost for their families and the country, there is no reason why we cannot succeed. And it is, we have the track record of going through suffering, perseverance, hard work, sacrifice. So if we just are inspired, then our people will step up and deliver.
And we are still inspired now.
Well, inspiration is a continuing thing, you know.
And there's also such a thing as the culture of inspiration, I think,
Meaning?
which we really have to keep sharing with the Filipinos. I mean, you really have to continue. We have to be a people that can inspire ourselves out of a rut. I mean, nobody's going to help us, so we have to be the ones
we have to help
do it.
ourselves. So I guess you were all inspired today, no?
But I think precisely a 25-year horizon. A 25-year horizon creates inspiration for me. I mean, if you begin to imagine a Philippines in 2026, I think that's a source of inspiration.
Para we're not just doing mga knee-jerk reactions when a crisis happens. That's what we do, no? Parang side.
However, I was just thinking, and this is coming from a personal perspective, I never really thought about it until this moment, but I think we held this conference at a time when that inspiration was available. And I think the Ondoy experience and the Pepe experience actually inspired us. We inspired ourselves. And I think we inspired ourselves more than the elections inspired us. And I think this is a carryover from that moment. I'm beginning to think that we're still carrying that flavor, that mood.
It inspired us because that was
all those elements had no patronage.
Walang patronage
one element in it. It was like people just saying, no, let's do it. It needs to be done. It's the you know, go getter, di ba? Parang ganun type.
You know, just one interesting. The Inquirer wrote about it. 500,000 people decided, December 31, to go to Luneta for the first time. Nobody told them, well, let's all go there.
Did anybody invite anybody? Or?
There was no big to do, but the people are already saying, I want to do something for myself. I will decide to go there because I want to celebrate the new and the coming of the new year. And boom, 500,000 people are there. People are already doing things, are already moving forward, are already deciding for themselves. And this is my take again. Yung leadership, medyo kinakailangang maghabol.
Tama. Nahuhuli pa yung leader.
Well, you know, leaders are, for me, you know, I have constraints, diba? I have, you know,
like what?
Well, you know, I have organizations I have to, you know, answer to, diba? And so forth and so on. So, but you try your best to not be constrained, diba? Not to be, you know, to break free. You know? So maybe that's why I'm sort of a maverick of sorts. I like to.
Marami ng Pilipinong naka-OS na mataas. Ang government nasa MS-DOS pa rin.
Okay.
Operating system.
Okay.
Software.
Digital.
Parang kulay green pa yung ano. Okay.
Digital na yung iba, analog pa yung, yung
Naka-Android na si Jimmy, iba naka-Symbian.
Pero wait a minute, may mga, like Jesse Robredo was there, right?
Yes.
So how were they reacting? Lalo na pag yung ganung idea came out na
he
medyo
was-
nahuhuli ata yung leaders.
He was quite open, and I think to the credit of Jesse, he really knows
And
how
Hill
to, and he's a people person, no?
Secretary Jesse was there. Secretary Hill de los Reyes of Agrarian Reform was also there. Si Dinky confirmed, but I think because of demands of the office at that time, she
Yeah,
had to- she had to
You were asked for like workable proposals, no? That was the word, no?
Two levels. One were practical proposals, and the other level was, well, dream away.
Sige, let's do the practical muna. Okay.
Pero yung dream away, I just wanted to qualify. These are possibilities that can actually be